be reading in my Bible on the back porch. I got a few minutes of quiet time while my kids are taken care of. So I wanted to come outside on the back porch, enjoy the fresh air, sit in the beauty of my flowers, and do some Bible reading. So if you're interested in that, join me for that. I'm going to be reading in the book of Esther. Oh, I didn't put my mic in. I want you to be able to hear me. All right, starting in Esther chapter 1. Now it came to pass in the days of Ahasuerus. This was the Ahasuerus who reigned over 127 provinces from India to Ethiopia. In those days, when King Ahasuerus sat on the throne of his kingdom, which was in Shushan, the citadel, that in the 3rd year of his reign he made a feast for all of his officials and servants, the powers of Persia and Media, the nobles of the princes of the provinces being before him, when he showed the riches of his glorious kingdom and the splendor of his excellent majesty for many days, 180 days in all. So they literally had a party and a banquet and a feast for 180 days. Like, that is crazy. I cannot imagine, like, we just had a Memorial Day party, after just a single event like that, I literally could not imagine partying for 180 days. I'm reading the book of Esther, and I just was talking about how the king at the time was throwing a party, and it lasted 180 days. So for half a year, this man was just partying it up. It says there were white and blue linen curtains fastened with cords of fine linen and purple on silver rods and marble pillars. And the couches were of gold and silver. They were literally sitting on gold and silver couches. Like, that's just crazy. On a mosaic pavement of alabaster, turquoise, and white and black marble. And they served drinks in golden vessels, each vessel being different from the other, with royal wine in abundance, according to the generosity of the king. So not only did this king have a party for 180 days, but he was supplying all the wine and all the booze and everything for these people just to live it up for 6 months straight. In accordance with the law, the drinking was not compulsory, for so the king had ordered all the officers of the household that they should do according to each man's pleasure. So talk about living in the flesh. Good morning. Hello, good morning. So I'm reading the Bible. I'm in chapter 1 of Esther today. And the starting stage of this book, the king at the time has been throwing a party and a banquet for 180 days to show off his splendor and his glory and all of his power. And so this is, at the time, what's about to happen. He's about to get the officials to bring his wife, the Queen Vashti, and he wants to show off her beauty, and her decision is going to come with a big consequence of how she responds to that. So let's see what she does. So in accordance with the law, the drinking was not compulsory, for so the king had ordered all the officers of his household that they should do according to each man's pleasure. Queen Vashti also made a feast for the women in the royal palace, which belonged to King Ahasuerus. I trip up on his name, sorry. So the king's having his own banquet. He's over here partying up in this part of the palace. The queen is over here in this part of the palace with all the ladies, and they're having their own separate banquet. It says, on the seventh day, when the heart of the king was merry with wine, so he was drunk. He was drunk and happy. He commanded Mehuman, Biztha, Harbona, Bigtha, Agbatha, Zethar, and Carcass, 7 eunuchs who served in the presence of the king Asterius, to bring Queen Vashti before the king, wearing her royal crown, in order to show her beauty to the people and the officials, for she was beautiful to behold. So he was literally, he sent his minions, that's what I call them, to get the queen, just to show her off. So meanwhile, she's currently hosting her own banquet of herself for all the women. And here he is partying it up, and he's drunk and he's merry. So this decision that he's making to bring her in to show her off is under the influence of alcohol. The first thing to go when you're drinking alcohol is your judgment. So I'm guessing, the Bible doesn't very specifically say like whether that was appropriate for him to call it. It probably wasn't, because he's saying wearing her royal crown in order to show her beauty. So we don't know the details, like, was it only her royal crown? Was she supposed to be naked? Or back in that time, maybe women had their hair wrapped up and all that, and maybe he wanted her hair down. We don't know the details. All we know is that he wanted her to come out wearing her crown and to show her off. But it says, but Queen Vashti refused to come to the king's command brought by his eunuchs. She refused the king. Now this king, he had 127 providences. He was the most powerful king at that time. He was over so much. Like, you don't deny this man. She denied this man for whatever reasons. And I'm not giving her a bad rap for denying him, because I don't know why she did that. Like, what was going on in her mind to cause her to do that. She had to have known the consequences. To deny the king, he could have had her killed. So whatever it was causing her to not come must have been so worth it to her that she was willing to risk her life for. I don't know. The Bible does not specifically touch on that. But Queen Vashti refused to come at the king's command brought by his eunuchs. Therefore the king was furious, and his anger burned within him. So now the king is drunk. He's in front of all of his people. He just got told no by his wife, the queen. So his pride and ego and all that had to be super like inflamed right now. So now he's also not thinking clearly. On top of being drunk, he's also furious and embarrassed. So like, okay, I got to do something now. So verse 13, then the king said to the wise men who understood the times, for this was the king's manner toward all who knew the law and justice, those closest to him being Karshina, Shethar, Admatha, Tarshish, Maris, Marsina, and Memucan, the 7 princes of Persia and Medina, who had access to the king's presence and who ranked highest in the kingdom. What shall we do with Queen Vashti according to the law, because she did not obey the command of King Asterius, brought to her by the eunuchs? And Memucan answered before the king and the princes, Queen Vashti has not only wronged the king, but all the princes and all the people who are in the provinces of King will become known to all women, spies their husbands in their eyes when they report King Asterius to Queen Vashti to be brought before him, but she did not come. So what they're saying, can you hear me? Okay. So what they're saying is, look, so the queen, she's the queen, right? So she holds the standard and the example to all the women in our community, right? The queen was literally holding the banquet for the women when she denied the king this. So what these eunuchs and these advisors of the king are saying is, look, if you don't handle this, with the hammer, you're going to send a message to all the wives of the husbands in our area that it is okay to not obey your husbands, essentially. So they did not want that. This very day of noble ladies of Persia and Medina will say to all the king's officials that they have heard of the behavior of the queen. Thus there will be excessive contempt and wrath. If it pleases the king, let a royal decree go out from him, and let it be recorded in the laws of the Persians and the Medes, so that it will not be altered, that Vashti shall come no more before King Ahasuerus. And let the king give her royal position to another who is better than she. When the king's decree, which he will make, is proclaimed throughout all the empire, for this is a great, all wives will honor their husbands, both great and small. And the reply pleased the king. So he's like, yeah, that's a great idea. My wonderful wife, my Queen Vashti, get her out of here. And the reply pleased the king, and the princes and the king did according to the word of Memucan. Then he sent letters to all the king's provinces, for each province is in its own script, and every people in their own language, that each man should be master of his house and speak in the language of his own people. Vashti, what she had done and what had been decreed against her. The king's servants who attended him said, let beautiful young virgins be sought for the king, and let the king appoint officers in all the provinces of the kingdom, and that they may gather all the beautiful young virgins to Shushan the citadel, into women's quarters, under the custody of Haggai, the king's eunuchs and custodian of the women. And let the preparations be given to them, the young women who please the king be queen instead of Vashti. So they're literally saying, look, just go gather all the beautiful young virgins. We'll put on a try it out show for the king, his next queen from there. This pleased the king, and he did so. In Shushan the citadel were the certain Jew whose name was Mordecai, the son of Jair, the son of Shimei, the son of Kish, a Benjaminite. Kish had been carried away from Jerusalem with the captives who had been captured with Jeconiah, king of Judah, whom Nebuchadnezzar, the king of Babylon, had carried away. And Mordecai had brought up Hadash, that is, Esther, his uncle's daughter, for she neither had father nor mother. The young woman was lovely and beautiful, when her father and Mordecai took her in as his own daughter. Freaking out for you. Sorry. You're okay. You doing a live stream? Yeah. Oh. We're good. You listen to me read the Bible? Where was I? So Mordecai adopted Esther, who was his actual cousin at the time. Okay, I gotta go be a mom. I'm getting off here. Bye. It's okay. If I can figure out how to, there we go.